In fact, I have a feeling that's where Leif Hoster, who's currently riding in 4th position there, will try and ride away from the pack. And why not the man from Spain sitting in 2nd wheel there, Juan Antonio Flecha? He is dreaming of winning this bike race, as he has done for many years.
Well, Van Summerin, perhaps it's time to remind ourselves, Paul, finished 8th in Paris Roubaix last year, so he knows the course. He's got his tail up now. That's by far his best ever finish. And if he stays with this breakaway, he'll improve by at least 2 places. But he's riding totally, as always, we have to admit, unselfishly. He's riding for Leif Hoster, who might well be planning his move on the next sector of 5 stars.
Well, Pozzato sitting at the back, looking at the rear wheel of Tom Boonen, just as he did 7 days ago in the Tour of Flanders. Well, Confin en Pavel is over and out. That's the end of section number 5.
4 sectors of pavé to go. As we see these riders clear, it's around 2 minutes the gap, and there goes a little bit of an attack from Flecha. The gap officially at 1 minute 30, and now Flecha is trying to stretch the breakaway.
Well, Flecha waited until after they'd come off the cobblestones there in a hope of surprising anybody, but look how attentive Mr. Boonen from Belgium was. Straight across the gap onto the wheel of Juan Antonio Flecha and Johan van Summerin. 2 kilometers to go now, Phil, to the Pavé de l'Arbre.
So the break has reformed 17 kilometers from the finish, and the chase group is not out of it yet. The teammate to the end here, Heinrich Hausler, he won't help him, but I'm a bit surprised Chavanel himself is trying to cross the gap. Unless he actually believes he can't reach the leaders, he won't want to take Hausler across and strengthen the support for Thor Hushod and against his own man. Now what's gone? There's a crash there, completely overridden that one.
Flecha and Leif Hoster have gone down there, filling that corner, and that was a wild corner going round there. Going into the corner there, you can see Flecha decked it. Straight over the top goes Leif Hoster. Johan van Summerin is there as well, but not involved in that crash at all was big Tom Boonen. Now Flecha back up onto his bike, trying to get himself going again. These cobblestones are the cobblestones in this region we call the pavé bleu, the blue cobblestones, and they are blue and very, very shiny indeed, and that is why that man has gone down in the dry. They are treacherous.
Well, no sooner do you enter the Carrefour de l'Arbre, and this happens here. I did say around every corner there is a problem. Hushod himself really swung wide there, and it almost got him down as well. But that's why this race is officially not over till the man salutes the crowd in Roubaix. It can happen around any corner.
Well, I tell you what, I've seen those cobblestones. I've ridden those cobblestones. They are extremely scary. Leif Hoster now caught out in that accident. It wasn't his fault. It was, in fact, the man from Spain, Flecha, who went down first, is trying to ride himself back into the event here. That looks like Pozzato riding across the gap, but at the front, it's now taking up the pressure with Tom Boonen and Thor Hushod. The 3 men behind are trying to scramble back into Paris Roubaix.
Well, they're on the Carrefour de l'Arbre now, 5 stars, vicious enough, but you saw how it had a bite in it there. And now Hushod, who almost fell, recovered well, and the God of Thunder has raced up behind Tom Boonen. But I'll tell you what, when Tom Boonen hit the front here, there was an enormous cheer in the stadium in Roubaix.
Well, the Hushod has gone down as well.
Hushod has crashed as well.
This is the Pavé de l'Arbre. That's what it's all about. It is a defining moment, this section of cobblestones. He went round there a little bit too wide, straight into the barriers, and he now is down, and he will have gone down right in front of Pozzato. Pozzato is trying to get across to Tom Boonen. Boonen does not need to attack in a race like this, Phil, but now he is on his own. He's got to take all of the risks, and I think there are no French people in the crowd here this afternoon. They must all be Flemish.
Well, there's been oohs and ahs and cheers, and now Tom Boonen is free to fly. Those big legs can pump on the pedals, and it's 15 kilometers and a bit more to go to the finish. But I would think that Hushod will be up as fast as he can, and the strength at hand, because the others are still chasing from the previous crash.
And not too far behind was Pozzato. Here is Pozzato now trying to get himself up to the wheel of Tom Boonen. He's trying to get all of the Flandrians out of the way. He's
here
looking through the cloud to see what is the difference between myself and Big Tommeke.
Tom Boonen, he's the pin-up boy of Belgian sport, not just Belgian cycling here. And he's now pushing on through an incredible crowd. And look at the Belgian flags. These are the flags of Flanders here. These people speak Flemish, not French, and they're looking at a Flemish rider burst forth.
The gap is not very much. It's not much more, Phil, than 5 or 6 seconds to Pippo Pozzato. He wasn't involved in that crash. He managed to get around it. He was delayed by it. Boonen around the corner now. He's got a section of smooth road for around about 50 meters. Then it's a left-hand turn, and he'll have to go right the way across the rest of the Pavé de l'Arbre, the cobblestones of Gruzon.
It's a bizarre pursuit across the roads of northern France on Easter Sunday now. Boonen, Pozzato, Hushod. There's no daylight, or there is daylight between them all. There's no way they can help each other now. It is simply their strength that will get them out of this mess.
Well, poor old Juan Antonio Flecha, he was the man who attacked before the Pavé de l'Arbre, and when he went onto it, he was unable to keep his bicycle upright. Now the little groups are starting to form. This is the second part of the Pavé de l'Arbre, and this is Gruzon, and Tom Boonen knows he's got to lay down the law now. He knows that not very far behind him is Pippo Pozzato, but he's done what he couldn't do last week in the Tour of Flanders. He's put a gap between himself and the Italian, and he has to consolidate.
And he made a friend of the Queen of the Classics to do it now. She took everybody out. 14 kilometers to go. Pozzato in pursuit of Tom Boonen. They were once on the same team. They would once have helped each other. Now they both want to win this great race.
Well, this is going to be a pursuit all the way to the finish. 14.5 kilometers of racing. Johan van Summerin now sacrificing himself once again for Leif Hoster, who is in his wheel, and of course they're dragging along for the party Thor Hushod. The race situation is Tom Boonen at 10 seconds, Pippo Pozzato, and a little bit further back you've got that group of 3, and already, Phil, at 1 minute and 5 seconds, Juan Antonio Flecha.
Oh, and that's not what you do. You do not run out in front of some of the greatest bike riders in the world here just to get a better view. They've had enough problems of their own today. This is the chaser, Filippo Pozzato, another popular personage in the world of cycling anyway, stage winner in the Tour de France. He's now trying to close the gap to Boonen.
Well, Boonen is off the end of the cobblestones, and in a couple of seconds' time, so too will be Pippo Pozzato as we go a bit further back down the road. This is the chase group of Sylvain Chavanel starting that same section of cobbles. So Chavanel is probably looking at 1 minute and 45 seconds to his team leader, Boonen.
And he's not even worried about catching him now. He's racing for himself now. Chavanel, he's been given his head. He's towing along with him at the moment. Heinrich Hausler. Heinrich himself must know by now, because of the race radios, that Hushod has fallen and is in trouble. He is trying to get back with Flecha and Hoster to the leaders.
Well, there are 2 sections of cobblestones left, and one of them really is not that complicated for the riders. It's the one from Willems to Em, and that's a section of cobblestones at 1.4 kilometers in length, but it still is going to be a massive pursuit at the front of the bike race. Sylvain Chavanel there is looking to pull himself back in to what will be his best ever performance in Paris Roubaix.
So the leaders are now spread across the cobblestones of northern France. It's looking at the moment, it's advantage Boonen. Oh, a massive pile up here. Somebody has touched the wheel.
There's another crash at the back. These crashes are coming thick and fast here this afternoon.
There's a crash there.
Flecha and Leif Hoster have gone down. Well, the Hushod has gone down as well.
Hushod has crashed as well.
This is the Pavé de l'Arbre.
So there's the split, and it's 16 seconds now. On the right is Filippo Pozzato trying to get on terms with Tom Boonen, but Boonen is just holding it now, and the 3 chasers, Hushod, Van Summerin and Hoster, are at 49.
This is the section of M, and I remember many years ago, I think 1983, Hincapie almost lost his victory in Paris-Roubaix when he was in a similar situation to this. He flicked across the road from left to right, and his back tyre popped off the wheel, and then all of a sudden he was standing at the side of the road. Let's hope that doesn't happen to Tom Boonen here this afternoon. Is putting in one of the most impressive performances I've witnessed for a man who's made his reputation as one of the top sprinters in the world.
Well, by my reckoning, this will be Tom Boonen's 100th victory of his career, which started in 2002. What a sweet way to spend Easter Sunday now in France, with Belgium just over the road. He's just leaving on those pedals now. He's got nothing left in those legs except determination.
When you're in a situation like this at 7 kilometers to go and you can see a third victory and the Queen of the Classics ahead of you, you can push the pain barrier a little bit further ahead, a little bit further all of the time, because you know that this pain is a sweet pain. It's a pain that could bring you a great victory, and for me this will be one of the most dramatic victories that Tom Boonen has got if he can get to Roubaix ahead of this man, number 2 on the road, wearing 161, Pippo Pozzato. And isn't that ironic that he is a former teammate?
It is indeed, and Pozzato racing even so to his finest ever finish, if it's to be second here. Little bit of a problem for Van Summerin now. He's been such a sterling workhorse for Hoster, who is managing to hang on to Thor Hushod here. They are racing for third position at the moment. No Norwegian has ever been on the podium in this race, and Hushod is trying for third right now, ahead of Hoster, who has never finished in the top 3 either.
Well, Hushod getting a second win there, and probably a final belief that he can pull himself back into this bike race, and if he can get to Tom Boonen and get onto the podium, get onto the Velodrome here, anything can happen. Whoa, as Boonen goes around that corner there, he's taking all of the risks. He knows every time he slows down in one of these corners, he could lose himself a second or more. This is the end of sector 2 to go of 1,400 meters, and that is the section of M. There's only one more section of cobbles left, Phil, and I have to say, as you said a little bit earlier, it's somewhat ornamental.
Yes, they're ceremonial, those cobbles, and it will be ceremony if Boonen reaches them here. This is Pozzato flying the flag for the new team, Katusha, as he comes onto the sector of cobbles at the end as well. But this is still a one-on-one fight, and there's no room for a problem for Tom Boonen or for Pozzato, because the boys behind would snap them up as easy as that.
Well, the television is telling us 18 seconds. The race referee is telling me 15 seconds. It is still very close indeed. Pozzato has got to keep his morale right up there now, a little bit further back.
This.
Hoster, who was in difficulty a few moments ago, has fought himself back into some kind of form here, and that's the way Paris Roubaix is. It's up and down, it's lose and fight back, and that's what's happening to this man here. He's starting to ride himself back into the race. Still ploughing a lonely furrow, though, is the man who's created his career as a sprinter on his own, Tom Boonen.
Tom continues to ride here to get his third victory. He's now heading to the stadium. There's still 6 kilometers to go. He knows now, though, if he doesn't have a problem, he'll run out the winner. Well, there's just time for one more break, and when we come back, the crowd right here in the Velodrome will explode with a big finish. Stay now on the figure of Filippo Pozzato here, 27 seconds behind Tom Boonen, and 2 riders chasing Pozzato. His second place is not safe, but I feel as though Boonen's first place is.
3 kilometers to go for Tom Boonen now, wearing number 1 on his back. He's almost got to the top of the Côte d'M, the climb of M, which isn't really a climb in itself, but it's a very nasty false flat after 259 kilometers in the saddle. Boonen now starting to pick it up once again. He would be very happy to be able to read that line in French, tête de la course, the head of the bike race. And now he's away from M and he's on the flat now. The next thing he will be seeing, Phil, in about a kilometer's time, is a final ornamental section of cobblestones in the city of Roubaix, and then it will be the Flamme Rouge, and then the stadium packed with Flemish supporters will receive their champion.
You bet your life. They're all standing up here watching the big screen now. It's a packed house in Roubaix. The only classic that finishes on a banked velodrome left in the world, and now it is a Belgian cyclist, Tom Boonen, again, who is heading down towards the finishing line. And I don't think anybody's going to get him either, and when he does get there, he'll be the 53rd Belgian rider to win this race. Not quite two, it'll be the 53rd time the country has won this race, and for him, it'll be his third.
Well, for him, it will be a glorious victory as well to ride around here completely and utterly on your own. He now knows he's got 30 seconds. Tornado Tom Friches, the big sign at the road, the side of the road there. That for the Belgians. The Belgians are very well renowned for their Friches. The distance between Tom Boonen and this second, third group on the road is now gone to the 1 minute and 2 second mark. Thor Hushod may have dreamed of winning Paris Roubaix this afternoon, but the Pavé de l'Arbre, the Carrefour de l'Arbre, had something special to say about this race once again.
It's been a great race. It's been a great race by the riders who have hit this front and torn each other to shreds with a little help from the cobblestones. There's the switch. We now go down the centre of the road. These are the ceremonial cobbles, and they're just at 0.3 of a kilometre, 300 metres. Then we'll turn right into the stadium. Then we'll stop talking while you listen to the roar.
Well, Boonen is about to come off that 300-metre section of ornamental cobblestones right in the very heart of the city of Roubaix. Ranked only a 1-star, but for Tom Boonen this afternoon, Phil, this is a 5-star entrance into the Velodrome. And listen to the crowd. He's not even here yet.
He makes his way to the gate. There's no more cobbles in this year's Queen of the Classics. She's done her best to ruin it again for some, and she's succeeded. But not for this man. As he heads into the stadium now, Tom Boonen is about to start 1.5 laps of honour. As he swings onto the Velodrome, he'll keep low in the bowl and he'll race round to the bell, and it must be the best sound in world cycling.
Well, I have to say, Tom Boonen started this race as the outright favourite for the victory this afternoon. There was nobody given as many stars to win this bike race as Tom Boonen was, but it is so difficult when you're the #1 favourite to come up with the goods, because everybody makes their race on you. But this afternoon, Tom Boonen has raced against himself or against the cobblestones, and I think this is a very happy Belgian bike rider.
Well, he's riding down the back straight. Pozzato is not in yet. As he comes round, he can wave to everybody. He could almost shake the hands of Pozzato because he's just entering the stadium as Tom goes back past the gate. But now it's all over as he comes into the home straight. Tom Boonen will win this race for a 3rd time and the 2nd year back-to-back. He's sprinting even to show off his true colours as he comes home now, and just joining the track is Filippo Pozzato, the former world champion. Now I have 3 wins. Next year he could join Roger de Vlaming as a 4-time winner. There's Pozzato.
Pozzato still has a lap to go. Tom Boonen made a phenomenal chase over the last few kilometres. Congratulations from an ex-teammate there. Pozzato will run out in 2nd place for Italy here this afternoon, but how very much he was hoping that it was going to be 1st.
The other 3 riders are also on the track, but they're just half a lap behind Pozzato. They're not going to damage him at all. He knows it now. The job is done out on the course. He's coming round. The average speed, 41 kilometres an hour over roads like that. 6 hours and 15 minutes they've been riding. Filippo Pozzato, the best ever finish for him in Paris-Roubaix, and he was beaten by a stronger man on the day, but he's a very, very worthy 2nd place rider.
Well, also on the track now, on the far side, I can see Johan van Summerin is leading out the sprint for Thor Hushod, and then 3rd place there is Leif Hoster. It should really be a formality for the God of Thunder to get himself onto the podium, because he is the fastest sprinter of these 3.
Well, he'll have to watch Leif Hoster, but Thor Hushod is a very strong finisher. But again, the Belgians are inspired here in sight of their own country. But Thor Hushod becomes the first Norwegian ever to step up on the podium here in Paris-Roubaix. So Hushod has crossed the line 3rd. Hoster is in 4th place, and Van Summerin an excellent 5th place, his highest ever finish in this classic. What an extraordinary race it has been today, and Flecha, who got laid low by the crash out on the cobblestones, will have to be content with 6th place this time around. This great Spanish cyclist who can mix it with the best of the Northern Europeans. As he goes down the track, a rather lonely and solitary figure here, but even so, 6th place and no sign of anybody else coming into the stadium right now. But the next 2 in should be Heinrich Hausler and also Sebastian Chavanel. Already the crowds are mobbing Tom Boonen down there in the centre as the others proudly applaud the arrival of Flecha here into 6th place. 2 minutes 13 seconds, his time gap in the end. As we look again at Tom Boonen, This is Tom Boonen now just kicking once more, inspired by the fact he was being drawn to the finish, turning on the show for the crowd here as he wins Paris Roubaix for a third time. This one, I think, though, far and away his best ever win. He was aggressive throughout, and in the end he had to do it his way because he had no teammates left to help him. So Boonen takes the flag back home to Belgium as a three-time winner of Paris Roubaix. The riders he joins, by the way, are Museo, Lapitz, Van Looy, Eddy Merckx and Francesca Moser. There's the welcome he received on arrival. That's round the back straight of the stadium here in Roubaix, which, apart from a couple of occasions, has always provided us with the finish line for this event. And I make it his 100th victory of his career today. Confirmation of the result then, a win for Tom Boonen, 6 1/4 hours today, 47 seconds Pozzato, a minute 17 to Hushod and Hoster. Then comes Van Summerin, his best ever finish. Flecha in 6th. Heinrich Hausler gets 7th at 3:13. Sylvain Chavanel is in 8th place at 3:15. Pozzato and Brechel completing the top 10 at 5:29. So there they are, the three of them on the podium. The Cobblestone being gripped, almost hugged there by Tom Boonen, as a man who's now won it 3 times. On the right, as we look, the 3rd place Thor Hushod of Norway. And on the left, looks a little bit upset with himself, I suspect. Disappointed perhaps Filippo Pozzato, but he shouldn't be. He was beaten, I think, by the best rider in the race today. There's no lucky winner, of course, of this event. There really isn't. All right, well, down there in the track centre now is Paul Schoen. He's left my side, and he's found the winner today, Tom Boonen. Paul.
You had a lot of pressure on you this week because I think all of Belgium wanted you to win this. Now you can relax a bit.
Yeah. No, really happy. When I arrived here, I was so empty. But I made it, and I had to fight for every second. The last 15 kilometers was another small rider behind me with Pozzato, and especially in the beginning when it was 10 seconds, he could almost touch me, and it was a big battle today.
Did you think that was a big risk, in fact, trying to ride alone from the Pavé de l'Arbre all the way to the finish with a man like Pozzato just behind?
It was the right moment. It's all about the instinct, and I felt it was the right moment. And I think if I would have waited on the other guys to come back, and I was 2 teammates, and nobody wants to ride with me to the finish line, and we saw it last week. So the only solution is to go alone.
Now you've won Paris-Roubaix 3 times. Which was the most enjoyable?
Today was the hardest. I think they are all. Every year you say it's this is one of the nicest, and I will see you to say today too, but I think they're all equal. But today was the hardest one of the 3.
Unfortunately today, George Hincapie, after that bad luck, he finished well down the field. He was in a group around about 6 minutes back, and it was a large peloton, and he finished right at the back, had no interest in a finish in that bunch.
George, again, it seems as if Lady Luck wasn't on your side in Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah, no, I was flattered at the worst possible moment. It's just a mirror image of last year. Actually thought I would be okay because it was a feed zone coming up, but CSC went to the front and made it to five groups, which or Saxo Bank, I'm sorry, which I don't think was the best tactic because they didn't have anybody in the first guys at the end. I think it was just a waste of energy. They were all back there, and you know, so it's just not a great day for me.
Despite the fact that it's a mad race and a crazy race, and you're getting a bit older in your career, do you still want to come back here and have another crack?
I can't end it like this. I thought about it with 20K to go, and there's just no way I'm going out like this. I got to come back and give it one more shot.
Thanks, Paul. Be sure to join us when the epic cycle continues on Versus on April the 26th at 3 Eastern, and note the time. It's 2 of the great Ardennes classics. The world's best cyclists will take on Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and we will also have highlights from the Flecha Wallonne, which is another Ardennes speciality. For a complete schedule too, don't forget, log on to our website, versus.com. You'll also find bonus interviews and features and the latest articles from Bob Roll, who will also give his views on the latest Lance Armstrong controversy. Well, congratulations to now 3-time winner of Paris-Roubaix, Tom Boonen. Until the next time, for Paul Schoen, I'm Phil Liggett saying goodbye for now from France.